entertain.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome and thank you for joining us here on this terrific Thursday. Yeah, it's a Thursday. It may not be Thanksgiving, but we are indeed very, very thankful as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. Hey, 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flow, 1-800-534-TALK. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. That doesn't work. Here's another number that you can always use. 949-6990. Or you can equal to WhatsApp 925-3261. Many of us find numbers easy. Others are baffled and confused and we seem to be intimidated by it. Well, maybe that speaks to our education systems, whether here or elsewhere. Maybe it speaks to the way, it was introduced to us and presented. It may have been that parent or teacher or some adult who told us that math and numbers were impossible and difficult and, not something that we should pay attention to. And I put that to you off the bat as some have shared, and unfortunately, in this society we keep, talking and spending a lot of time talking about spending money, because if that is the answer to our educational woes, and as she was sharing, well, it's quite simple. If we look at other countries that have made significant transformations with respect to their education, so there wasn't a sense that they're trying to, reform something. They just need to be able to evolve it, transform it, get it to a point where it's better. In her mind, reforming something, it's recognizing that it's bad and just trying to make it a little bit better. You have to transform it, change it altogether. In the 80s, she says, now, perhaps I'll repeat this as if it's absolute fact. If you take issue with it and don't know it, to be well, let me know. But she said, look at the Canadian system. It's championed today as a high-quality education system. It wasn't always that. They made some significant transformations in the 80s. We championed the Nordic countries. We look at how Finland and others, and we quickly ask, why is it that some of the practices, the best practices that are there, or in Singapore or some of the Asian countries, despite the cultural differences, why can't we incorporate some of those? She said, well, it simply comes down to two things. Lack of a will, whether it's from the politicians, the policymakers, the educators, the parents, the students themselves. If she thinks back to when she was a student and now as a parent, as a student, really, do you want to go to school all day long and come home and do homework? Would you rather not play? So now as a parent, sometimes the child comes home with things that you as the parent, you're being asked to help. From the early days, you're being asked to help the child with making sure that, they do some reading, read with them, perhaps to check their homework, to take the child to get supplies for a project. Sometimes, she says, not so much now as the child is older, but she says she remembers when, her son was starting school in those early years. It was an expectation, the school that they attended, because she said it wasn't just him. She's a single parent. It was her as well that she was expected to attend, to participate in the PTA, to volunteer and other things, to chaperone where necessary. And she said that she was almost much a student to an extent. And as the child got older and nearing high school and graduation. Like, well, still involved, but change. Now, she says, why is it that we're not able to see education? And I give that to us as the start of our discussion in case you want to be late and inclined to talk about it, but it's open line and we can talk about everything. I know it's Thursday, and Thursdays we usually have someone from the opposition in our studio. Well, as much as we look at them sometimes and wonder about them, well, they get affected by the bugs that go around and they get impacted by little things. So that's not going to materialize today. Hoping that my good friend Daniel will be able to pop in. We'll see whether that works around and have a chat with him. It's always good to be able to extend a voice to our people sometimes so that they can have not only an audience but an opportunity to share directly. And for us as a people to listen, not just attentively, but constructively, and sometimes critique what is being said. Offer up an alternative view, not to be condemning, but not necessarily just to acquiesce because we want to be polite. We don't want to be confrontational. Now, I had a chance last evening. Some students are preparing for a particular activity. Yes, it's summer, and not all students sort of see the summer as a reprieve. Some anxiously and eagerly look forward to it. Well, these students are preparing for something. Unfortunately, the activity takes place off island. It seems, from what they've shared with me, it's an activity that has been championed by one of the parents with heavy support from a teacher, not necessarily within the school, but nonetheless something to be beneficial. Now, there were two things that I said to them that I thought was interesting. One, it seems like so much. It's, if you don't know about something, how can you be a part of it? And two, if you don't have the resource, the time, the money, as in this case, sometimes you're excluded simply because you can't afford to be a part of it. Well, this is, one of those things. These students have a particular interest and they're going to be involved in certain areas, and I was honored to be asked to sort of, evaluate, look at it, comment, and if, these students have genuinely been as independent and the approach, if the teacher who's sort of chaperoning, leading the whole process has been as involved and as committed, and I only say if, not that I sense the doubt. I say if because how is it that we can have this level of commitment and involvement, this sacrifice, as it were, in the summer? Well, why can't we have it all year round from every single one? Well, I asked the teacher, and the response was simply, well, if you look at it, it has a recognition that you have these students with this particular talent. The word gifting was used, but and sometimes we have to get through the curriculum. You have to teach the test. You have to do things. Despite what is shared, end of the day, parents, as much as the administrators, they want to see these things that give them a semblance that little Johnny or Susie is excelling, is making their grade and up to the mark, as it were. Now, educators and across the globe will tell you, well, there's a little bit more to it than that. Now, these students were very, very constructive. They were, putting in a lot of time in order to prepare for this endeavor. How do we get that to be the mainstay in our schools? Well, here's something that one of the parents suggested, after we saw the presentation, as it were. Said governments to date have been talking about making some changes in the education system, whether it's been resisted by educators in the public or private sector, whether it's been championed by parents or business leaders. But the one thing that has been lacking is the involvement and participation of the students. How many times have we asked the students, what is lacking? What is it that they want? What is it that they need? The notion, he said, was that we have a school calendar that is almost the same calendar that he went through And he probably sure, his parents went through. Why is that still the calendar today? When there are complaints that in the summer, such an extended periods, children presumably can lose, a number of sort of grades as they over the summer not engage. Parents are challenged to find activities for their children. When they do, there's concern about whether they can afford it. So what if the school year, he said, was different? It was all year. Not that they don't get breaks often and sometimes for longer periods to do things, but what if there were better ways? Now, he said, obviously there are cost factors, but the schools are there. Now, the teachers are still being paid for the summer, but this is a case where we need to transform the education system. As a parent, as a teacher, as a student, question that he'd asked that we'd like to share with you. How would you feel? What is your thought about school being, and I'll just put it this way and then you can adjust it, every day, all year round, as opposed to what it is now. We get a break, at Christmas, but we, come back in and we're gone again for a little break somewhere down around Ash Wednesday and Easter, and then, maybe a couple of the days off for this and that, and then a long extended summer. School start anywhere from, mid-August to early September. Well, should we have school for the most part, January 1st to December 31st, with breaks in between there for different things. But for the whole calendar year, as a student, would you like that? If so, what would you like about it? If not, well, why not? As a parent, as a teacher, just as an interested citizen, be interested to hear what your thoughts are. School, every day. Now, you may say, well, not Saturday and Sunday. But some of you might say, well, why not Saturday and Sunday? Maybe if you're an individual who attends church on one of those days, well, that could be the day of their religious, spiritual enrichment that takes place on that day. And then the other days, there'll be other things. Maybe it's a day where it's a sport that's focused on. It doesn't have to be for the regular school day. It doesn't have to be that it's going to be necessarily as structured in the sense of uniforms and the like. But it could be. And then, why did I throw this question in? Well, what about the school hours? Should it be 8 to 5? Should it be 7 to 3? Should we go from, 10 to 2? I don't know. What are your thoughts? The school day as well as the school year. Be interested to hear from you. I had a couple of, and like I said, a couple, meaning two, of the parents who were at the thing last evening give their views, but as only two, and commenting on what the fellow shared. What about adding to that? Let's hear from you and see what you think. Now, I believe the phones are working. I think I saw Miss Susan, take them outside, take the hammer to them earlier, and use a screwdriver, some, oil, and get them all working. Let's see where they go. But they might not be. I never can tell these days. 949-8037 or 949-6990. Of course, we're grateful for the toll-free call. Promise that another option is soon come, they say. But that might be coming by the Rembro. So when that does, that'll be there for you. But until then, well, 1-800-534-8255. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-TALK. WhatsApps are also an option. You can voice note it, I believe. Maybe not. We'll see if that works. And you can also text and type 925-32621. I know one of you have said to me, well, why do you say other people have access to another route? Well, the carrier pigeon is always there. Miss Susan's private number is there. Those of you who have that, you can call her on that. Well, if you have options, hey, use them. For me, that we can facilitate your voice, that's what we're here for. It's not certainly our, muscular stature and, handsome good looks. That's not why we're on here, right, Miss Susan? She said, nope, not at all. Now, what is that? YouTube, you say, right? Remind our listeners, YouTube. So you go online, find that YouTube, and then you go to search Radio Cayman live streaming, and then you got to subscribe. Okay, I think it's $9.99 a month. Yeah. You want me to repeat that on there, Miss Susan? You really want me? And that would really cause a stir. No, I shan't repeat that. But if she does, hey, give her a chocolate. going to pause and we're going to take a break. If you're interested in the client and so moved and motivated, well, give us a shout and let's hear from you. We can talk about education. There is a comment, I promise, an individual. If he sends through it, I'll read it as it is. If it isn't, I'll do my best to remember what he was saying. So in relation to prisoners and rehabilitation, so maybe if I did forget to do it, someone can remind me that I said I would say it. But education is a question that I put on the table. The year, should it be all year round? Should it be every day, all day? And what about the hours? Well, I want to hear from you. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Brand Source Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brand Source Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brand Source Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Do you know that conditions may change suddenly in an emergency and you may have to leave at a moment's notice? When a hurricane threatens, you should have a grab-and-go survival kit. This kit should include your personal identification and other vital documents, which should be sealed in a watertight pouch or container. For more tips and information, visit the Hazard Management Cayman Islands office or caymanprepared.ky. This hurricane tip is brought to you by Hazard Management Cayman Islands and Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037. Or toll free 1-800-534-8255. Now, you can also call 949-6990. Hopefully, the numbers fall easily on your ears and you find it comfortable to hit your keypad to dial it. But you can also WhatsApp 925-3261. And the reason we were asked the question about education, not just because I think every single one of us, whether we're a parent, whether we're a prospective student, whether we've recently graduated, whether we're in the system or not, we see how it affects, all of us, and how each, one of us at some point in time wished we had, done this or had the opportunity for that, or when we did, we didn't seem to make the most of it. And then we hear employers being concerned about the caliber of their prospective employees. Now, one individual last evening was sharing simply that here are a group of students, yes, very much being nurtured and encouraged and supported by parents, but also by an educator to continue during the summer to do things, not just enrichment, as the educators call it, but things that are going to advance them, help them, and maybe, I guess in my interpretation, when colleges are looking at them and prospective employers or, agencies who are granting scholarships and like, may see these children in a different light. They'll stand out in a positive way. And the parents said, well, why is it that we don't have school all year round? Not from the sense that, it's to punish the child, but you work and you work all year round. As a teacher, he says, yes, you get a nice break over the summer, but most of the teachers are still doing something, especially the more experienced teachers, the ones that have been given added responsibility. There was a comment he shared with that too that maybe if I did repeat it, it might be considered to be talking literally out of school. But he said, this perception that you're a teacher, so you get these long vacations. Not necessarily entirely true. But even so, those teachers that work hard, during the school year, certainly deserve a break. All of us, he said, as constructive, productive employees, deserve a level of break to get recharged and re-energized and re-enthused and sort of, renewed. So that when we come back, we can hit the ground running again and continue the momentum. But if you're a person that works with people, especially as a teacher, it's taxing, he said. Now, he can speak from experience. Obviously, that's something he's doing and has been doing for a while. But he shared, if you look at the school day, the school year, if you take these students and you say, well, they may be somewhat of the exception, but certainly more and more, that's becoming the norm, that children are being engaged throughout the entire calendar year, even when they're not in school, formally and officially, when they're not necessarily attending a school, sanctioned event. Now, he said, as an aside, we see it where students over the summer may travel for sports or the arts or something similar. Now, maybe not many students in this region or in this jurisdiction specifically may be engaged during the summer in academic activities. When they do, we use words like summer school in a very, he said, most unfortunate, connotation that is negative, it's a punishment. Yet when we have a reading program, it's to help the child along the way. So why not have the school year be continued, from the 1st of January to the 31st of December with appropriate breaks for the appropriate periods. And when, as he says, he's recognized that other places have experimented with certain, types of sort of school calendars, as it were. He said some tertiary institutions may have a system where, every 6 weeks or the like, you get a little break for a week or so, and then you keep going, and you're going all year round. Some secondary schools have something similar. Some schools will have it very traditional. You start somewhere in the fall, and you take a break around Christmas, and you come back, sit your exams in January. And he thought, wow, over Christmas, you can't enjoy your Christmas break, the festivities, because you're sweating over those exams, those finals that you have to take after Christmas. And he's wondering, to what extent are we transforming the system? Instead of trying to punish students, we're constantly trying to find ways to further marginalize them, to cream them off, as it were. Now, he said maybe the British style of education is probably the worst when it comes to that, in that it doesn't look at the student, it doesn't care as much about it. It's not about ability or anything. It's more about trying to, maintain a certain, I guess as he put it, a certain persona, as it were. But what is your thought? Has he been overly critical? Now, two of the parents were listening, and I opted not to weigh in for two reasons. One, I was an invited guest, and two, had I shared my view, would I have influenced what they were sharing? So one of the parents said, well, like the system the way it is. It's familiar. It's traditional, customary. You know what it is, and you can plan your time. If you were to do that now, it's going to be disruptive. And at what point would we start it? It's just not going to work. And then if one school does it, well, and another does it, even if your children are all at one school, well, they have friends and their other family members. And when you're at school and they're in school, so logistically, it doesn't make sense. It has to be a change and a change for all. And if not, well, it doesn't work. Now, what do you think of that? Makes sense? Is it that we don't like change? We don't know how to embrace it? Change makes us uncomfortable? The other parent said, well, as she was looking at it, her view was simply that school for them is every day, all day. I don't believe that this would sort of disclose her or her household. But as I listened to what she shared, and I did say to her, her lifestyle is a lot like, of people that I know. Monday morning to Friday, they go to school. Monday through Thursday, there are activities after school, from academics to athletics to the music programs and all the like. Fridays, there may be something else that is on. It could be a youth group, church-related event. It could be some other sort of socializing event. Saturday, there is a sporting event or some other engaged activity, maybe part of the school, maybe part of another organized activity. Sunday, there is church and other engagements, and then Monday it starts all over again. Now, she shared that during the breaks, as the child has gotten older, one of her children got a little job, even during Christmas, they earn a little bit of extra money. Easter, well, they tend to not work, they tend to travel a bit. Summer, depending on things, there may be a bit of travel, but there are activities from the summer camps to volunteering to getting involved with other things, and now with this on their table, with this. So for the most part, she shared her children are engaged, if you say from September 1st to August 31st or January 1 to December 1, however you want to do it, they're engaged all year round. Now, is it because she's a fundamentally structured individual who makes sure that there's a timetable and organization, or is it that they're seeking out something to properly, sort of guide and nourish her children? Now, two parents with very, very, different views as to whether changing the calendar year for the school year and making one and the same. But where do you weigh in? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Now, the question wasn't asked or answered or offered up by the fellow who was sharing his view, but I decided, could I ask them, what do you think about the school day? The hours that the children are in school. It wasn't necessarily an involved debate, but maybe the consensus, if I can call it that, a very small group, was that perhaps the school day, the instruction in the classrooms, perhaps was starting too early for some of the students. Not just because they were tired from the night before and they needed a little extra sleep, but for parents having to get to work. There was a level of rush and anxiety in getting up in the morning and getting off to school. One of the parents said, there was a particular time in the school year where it was a little bit more relaxed, and they found that things were different. And was that because the school was winding down for the school year, or was it because that they were able to, for that one occasion, and she said it only happened once in the entire years that they've been there, where for those few days, they didn't have to be at school at 8 o'clock or 7:30, as it were. And so there were a little bit of freedom. The parents could breathe a little more, children were a little bit more relaxed. But they thought that the school hours should be adjusted in relation to the start time. Now, what's your view? We see that being something that's being considered from the perspective of when workers should go to work. The staggered hours to ease the congestion on the road, give people a chance to get there, the flex time and the like. But do we even consider about our children? And perhaps when they are at school, maybe they're at school in that first half an hour, or whether it starts later or not, may not be necessarily the time when they get immediately to work. Maybe it's a time of interaction, fellowship, socializing, some other kind of approach. Maybe what they're doing in the mornings, perhaps for some, maybe it need to occur earlier. Maybe depending on the age of the child. And those of you who are educators and the like may know more. But it was interesting to listen to those three parents in particular share their views on it, and to see the success of the students, success from the perspective that they're willing to get involved and engaged in this activity. The fact that perhaps they have friends and maybe that's how they interact, but the fact that they were willing to do this when maybe other classmates are doing other things that are not school, as it were. Well, does it come down to us having a mindset as to what it should look like? 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. All right, let's go to our phones though, all right? Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you today?
Very well and thankful. How about yourself?
I am absolutely wonderful.
Amen to
and
that.
I am listening to this topic, and I'm thinking that, you know what, this topic is probably a whole lot bigger for us here in Cayman than you actually think.
Probably so, yeah.
Because right now, I'm a parent of, and I can only speak for John Gray High School. I'm a parent of a child in John Gray High School who's actually only been there for a year. And experiencing, and I have to say that it is an experience for the first year with my child being there. I have honestly thought of so many different ways that I think that the whole overall education of our students in Cayman can be, I guess you would say, an overhaul. Mm-hmm. And one of the things is also with the timing of students in school, because we all know John Gray is holding a capacity of students that is right now almost double, I think, what it was built for at this time. So it's a lot of stress and strain in particular on the school and the amount of teachers that are there. One of the things that I did thought of was flex, not necessarily flex time, but adjusted schedules for students overall, which in itself would probably be an issue getting, a certain amount of students to school from one time to the next, and then the next batch from one time, to the next at school. But we have right now, technology is so great, and you have students that can learn, students that are homeschooled. So even if some students came school for a certain amount of days of the week, and then some came for another certain amount of days of the week. But even in saying all of that, I honestly believe that we here in Cayman, our education system, best if we go back to primary school, middle school, and high school. And in saying that and seeing the 10-year-old in John Gray High School, again, I'm only speaking of,
right,
have to interact or be with a 14-year-old, 15-year-old. It is such a great divide right there in character and their education and everything. And for all of them to be thrown into one pot, I think it's just a disaster. It is a complete and utter disaster, and maybe nobody's saying anything about it, but I am speaking about it as a parent and seeing that, and because it's very hard to watch. So this thing with timing and even separating, I'm thinking grades by time, like for lunch or breaks or whatever. Right now, John Gray is separated into 4 different academies. So even if you separate them by time, because if I think the school has 1,200, or I don't even know the capacity of children or the amount of children that are there right now, all go for lunch at one time. What is that on one canteen? It is just one canteen that I know of that is there for all of them to go to. For teachers, it has to be strenuous, and to go from I'm one, I would honestly love for the school year to be from January 1st to December 31st. Granted that the time in between is what you would say, to the highest value then for time.
Right.
For that, the 2 months in between, as a parent, as a student, I'll say they're probably enjoying that they get 2 months straight off. I know my kids are enjoying that, but then you have to literally, and I believe it's still the responsibility of a parent for teaching their child anyway. I don't expect the teachers to be completely responsible for children. I think children should be taught from at home first, and take that into school and get that education and build on that. But I think it's the ultimate responsibility of a parent. So even with all of that is to just get in there and continue over the summer, now that we have these 2 summer months, is to keep them interested in what they were interested in, at school. If school is done from January 1st to December 31st, then maybe the days could be shorter for the students. I don't know how many studies or whatever have been done on it, and I can only speak from experience from myself, as a student back in the 80s, 90s, and experiencing my middle school and my Cayman Islands, high school, and the way that things are done. Things are a whole lot different now for the students than they were for us back in the day, because one of the things that is still mind-boggling to me right now, with the system especially, is that the kids go to 11th grade, and then if you don't pass all 5 or minimum 5 subjects, I think it is, then you go to the higher education part, which is a completely different school under a different principal on a different property, and in order for you to graduate, if you pass over there from the school that you went to before. I mean, what kind of foolishness is that? It is crazy. So you're putting these kids through a mental strain, for one. They're trying to learn, trying to grow, and all of this other stuff, this back and forth and timing and getting to school and getting from school and doing stuff through the summer. And teachers are basically doing the same thing and keeping the curriculum up and stuff. I personally just go back to the way it was and maybe adjust something with the days.
Well, you know what? You put something on the table that maybe as those listening could either champion or call in to counter. Thank you very much for sharing, though, okay?
Thank you, Sterling.
All right, have a wonderful afternoon. Let's pause quickly and take a break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
When it comes to designing a kitchen or a bath, functionality and style should be at the center of your design. Declutter, improve lighting, change cabinets, increase storage, and show your style with the help from experts at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 20% on the finest cabinets and fixtures this July for Kitchen and Bath Month at Brand Source. The design team can help create the perfect personal spa retreat and help design your functional kitchen, whether designing from scratch or renovating your home. Stop by Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, to save 20% on kitchen and bath cabinets and fixtures.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valuable customers that planned sewerage infrastructure works will occur in the vicinity of the intersection of North Church Street and West Bay Road from approximately 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday, the 22nd of July, 2018. Works will occur between the location of the newly approved boutique hotel opposite Kirk Market on North Church Street and an existing manhole opposite Baytown Plaza on West Bay Road. During this time, it will be necessary to keep one lane of traffic closed at all times. Northbound traffic will continue to have access to West Bay via West Bay Road and North Church Street, but southbound traffic will be diverted around the work area via Eastern Avenue and Bodden Road. Traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity, and all motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as that of the Water Authority staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of the motoring public as it upgrades its wastewater infrastructure to better serve its customers and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
King Sports Center's Art of Fun Summer Camp is back from July 3rd to August 3rd. Now it is Art of Fun Camp is ideal for kids age 5 through 10 with activities from football, basketball, dodgeball, squash, rock climbing, arts and craft, dance, singing, and more. Your child can stay cool while having fun in a safe and secure environment. For more info, email kings.rebanks@gmail.com. That's kings.brebanks@gmail.com or call 946-KING, like King's Sports Center on Facebook, and you can also find them on Instagram or call 946-5464. King's Sports Center, providing you with all your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
It's hard. Being a parent is demanding, not to mention trying to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. I needed help, and the Ministry of Education was able to provide it for my child to attend preschool. From one parent to another, if you need the financial help, submit your application today to find out if you qualify for preschool funding assistance.
If you have a child who is 3 years old but not yet 4 by September the 1st, you may be eligible to receive funding. Application forms can be collected from the Government Administration Building, the Department of Education Services, all early childhood centers, and may be found on the Ministry of Education's website at www.education.gov.ky. If you need more information about this government assistance program, please do email ecap@gov.ky. That's ECAP@gov.ky, or call 244-5724.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You can also send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261, or you can email talktoday@candw.ky. Hey, want to hear from you? Prefer your calls, because we're going to share it on directly. But as the caller, earlier shared, there are some who may have said, well, schools should be separated based on male and female. So all the boys in this school and all the girls in that school. Some of you may say, well, no, it's better to be mixed. As the lady shared, some of you may say, well, hey, listen, we should have schools that put students in their, appropriate age categories so that, the 16-year-old isn't interacting with the 11-year-old. But again, what if our schools were, both male and female? And what if, as one parent has shared with us some time ago, what if the system was that you started school and you were able to go from the very first day of school until you graduated, at that same school? And as the norm is that you go from one year to the next, not because you reached a certain age and you were sort of socially promoted, because you were satisfying the criteria, the requirements, and demonstrating the ability for that age so that you can take on the next age and grade and the like. And as you got older, you'll be given a responsibility. You'll be asked to serve as a mentor for the younger ones. Now, the question of whether older students will take advantage and bully the younger students comes back to, as one parent has shared with us some time back, the idea of what is the ethos of the school and of the society, and what culture is being created, where the expectation is that you are older, so therefore you are expected to demonstrate a greater sense of responsibility. The expectation of you is that you're going to serve as that guide, as that example for those younger students. There are many examples where students take on great levels of leadership and responsibility and demonstrate that they have what it takes, even at a very tender age, to be wonderful role models. Now, sadly, whether it's in a school or some other organized endeavor, we see the adults involved. Since we're talking about schools, we look at it from the perspective of teachers, who are not always the examples that they should be, not in their professional lives and in school, and not in their personal lives outside of school. Not just in Cayman, where you will say it's a small society, so everybody knows everybody else, but in larger societies where you only probably find out about it because you saw it in the national news. Well, how do we improve our education? How do we get to a place where the culture, the ethos, is one of respect and integrity? Well, give us some thoughts. We have our 1 p.m. headline news coming up shortly. We'll want to take that. We know from some of our listeners off air that there is police activity not far from here. Helicopter was seen overhead, and the police cars with their sirens and as one person shared with me here, was just almost on two wheels flying down the road there, trying to presumably get to wherever they were going. The police have to respond as they feel it's appropriate and justified. Well, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. We'll listen to headline news. Maybe there'll be an update there about what the community is saying and sharing that's happening not far down the road. Let's take our news break. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. Judicial Administration says court business operations at Kirk House are closed until further notice. According to a media bulletin from Government Information Services, the temporary closure is due to technical difficulties, which the office is seeking to resolve as quickly as possible. Until then, finance operations, all registry operations, summary court, and criminal grand court cases will take place between the main court building and the Georgetown Town Hall. In international headlines, a small explosion today at a vehicle shop at a U.S. Army depot in Pennsylvania injured 4 workers, 3 of them seriously. The blast occurred at Letterkenny Army Depot in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania at about 7:15 in the morning. Army Depot officials quickly posted on social media the incident was contained, that operations elsewhere on base would not be affected, and there was no suspicion of terrorist activity. The 3 victims were flown to Baltimore area hospitals with serious injuries. Their conditions were not immediately known. Belgium's airspace was closed off for landings and departures for about 2 hours this afternoon because of a technical glitch in the data system of the Air Safety Control Center. A spokesman said the control center had to execute a clear sky operation until the issue was fixed. Comcast is dropping its bid for Fox's entertainment businesses, paving the way for Disney to boost its upcoming streaming service by buying the studios behind The Simpsons and X-Men. Comcast can now focus on its pursuit of European pay-TV operator Sky, a deal that would give the Philadelphia-based cable and media company a larger presence outside the U.S. Those are your headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman. Okay, fellas. See what I'm saying? Generic promo. Take 1.
Okay, yeah. So last show.
Take 2.
Last show we had the topics.
Take 3.
Last show we had the topic.
Take a break.
See what I'm saying is coming back this Friday. So we're around again for another time of See What I'm Saying.
Yes, sir.
See What I'm Saying is a special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
Join us. See What I'm Saying because Dwayne can't say it right now.
See What I'm Saying is brought to you by our friends at Cayman National Bank.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. It's open line 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts with us. And I was just looking at a couple of comments during the break from some of our listeners. Some of the comments, and these are just, we live in this world, and I share this with you because from one perspective, if you think back to way back when we talked about the Mile Road, well, now it's, sort of digitized Mile Road. You want to call that the citizen journalists, whether you want to call it people gossiping, whether you want to call it people sharing information, networking. The fact that we live in a place where people can almost instantaneously not only get information, but share it with others, find out what's going on, good, bad, or indifferent. And 3 sets of information on different things, one of which, people are speculating, hey, what's happening down here? Why are the police here? Why was the helicopter there? A responsible media house would say, well, let's make sure that we get the information not just to you in a timely manner, but it has to be accurate, reliable, so there's an element of credibility. Now, equally, what about a community that should know what's going on, deserves to know, and needs to be informed in a very, very timely manner? Opportunity for the entrepreneur, for the socially conscious individual, for others to be able to share that information. Now, equally, when we're thinking about what it is that we're sharing with people and what is happening with us, how are we going? Takes me to the second bit of information that some people are sharing. Well, one individual asked the question, have you noticed that every summer, let me see if I can read this almost verbatim here. It says, have you noticed that every summer it seems that there's a spike in crime? Now, is that something that is only peculiar to this individual or these people who are sharing these comments? Or is that something that we have statistically on file? Is it that there is a spike in crime, break-ins, theft, burglars, different things during the summer? Is it because it's getting hotter, or is it because of what people have shared? Idle hands, more people in the country coming and visiting family, what have you. Now, if it is, what are we doing about it? How do we address and acknowledge the issue? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And if you want to, you can send us your thoughts on our email. It's talktoday@candw.ky. Now, the other comment came from one of our listeners who was sharing that as they were listening to the discussion about education, about summer, and about engaging the students on a more, continued basis, 2 of these people weighed in, and one said, children, like machines, like adults, they need to unwind. They need some time. Perhaps how we go about it, it's important that we, make sure as much as possible that we provide them with a level of structure. And as they were sharing, they were saying, hey, what is it that we're going to do to do that? Some ideas come up. Well, let's take this caller. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, 1-800-534-8255. See if we can get these callers all together.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, very low. You just what you just said about crime tends to escalate during the summertime. I was just talking about that to some friends of mine that did it. I noticed that when summer comes, our crime tends to go up for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. And Sterling, I tell you the God's truth, I really can't. I would not say it on there. I would not say it on there.
because I probably get bombarded for it.
Well,
but we got to keep observing the summertime in the Cayman Islands. We have a lot more visitors coming to the island for the summertime, and I noticed, and when I was talking to some people about it, they said that they've been noticing it too. That when summer comes, it's like more activities is going on in the island.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say too much. I got my feeling and my thoughts, and I will not share them on air. But since I just say it, it is something to think about, and it needs to be looked into.
Okay.
This is exactly why we're having so much, especially during the summertime.
Yep, definitely.
Sterling, I called a couple of days ago in regards to the police officers with these lights on top of their cars.
Right.
I don't know what the purpose is for them, but we were talking in the island sometime about needing help from the officers if anything's out here happening, and if they're out here hollering and screaming, they can't hear us because their windows are up. Now, windows are up from what I can see from time to time, and the lights are going. I would like to know what is the definition of these lights, that what saving capacities lights have for us here on our roads. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And also, we have officers that comes up to the airport to work. I understand that, like off duty. Sterling, we got some officers that comes up there and they work hard and they show a lot of interest, not a word of lie. And we got a few that doesn't show no interest. They're on their phone constantly. They're running into the air conditioned section of the arrival. They're under the tent where the dispatch is doing her job, and no one is monitoring these officers to see if they're doing their job. They're afraid of the rain. They're afraid of the sun. They're afraid of standing up. When you take that job, all of that with your job as an officer. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Just Monday, one of the workers was crossing in the pedestrian. She had the right to walk across, and this car just kept coming, and she had to raise her voice for that car to stop. They were just inches away from hitting that young lady, and she would have been in the right because she was in the pedestrian. It's just that the car was refusing to stop to let her cross in that pedestrian up there at the airport. I just want to say one thing, Sterling.
Uh-huh.
The public bus, there's stop. You got to stop there by Foster's, by the pedestrian crossing that goes into Foster's and some other Foster's on the 7-mile stretch. You got people that are standing waiting on their bus. And when you stop thinking that they want to cross, they don't want to cross. I know a public transport can't offer to these buses, but they need to put some proper bus stops on these roads, because then you here driving and you're thinking that individual want to cross, and when you stop to let that person cross, but half the time they don't press the button now. They're standing there and they don't want to cross because they're on the public bus, and the public buses are stopping on the pedestrians where we got these flashing lights here on the 7-mile stretch and elsewhere. Something needs to be done thoroughly because there's so many close calls on our roads. Our roads are getting more and more busier. A lot of crazy drivers out here, and they do not respect themselves, so they're not going to respect me and you and others that got to walk and drive and ride bicycles on our streets out here. So public transport, we all need to wake up.
All right.
We need to wake up.
All right. Thank you, too. All right, let's take the other caller. Hey, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Dear Southern doing number one, New Kingston. I'm talking loud because I'm having problems with my ears again.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yes, I had to be at the hospital yesterday, and the doctor said the ear is getting some infection there. So please excuse my heavy voice.
That's okay, sir.
But, and even when I'm moving my hair quick, I got caught in there.
All right, but you go ahead and I pray that you will be better 100% soon, all right?
You don't mean that.
I do, man. I don't lie on day, I don't lie on days ending in Y.
You don't lie on days what?
I don't lie on days ending in Y.
Ending in Y?
Yeah.
Oh, but you lie on them that what about the Friday one?
Yeah, but I say my days of the week in Spanish.
What about Friday? What about Monday? What about Tuesday?
Yeah.
What about Thursday? Stop telling a lie. You see, you just told a lie right there. Look here.
Yes, sir.
Look here, man. That's why I don't need a lawyer.
Mr. Brandon would be proud, huh?
I wish I were younger. I would be an lawyer.
Well, it can be both, you know.
Yeah, I can't do it now. I just wish I'd met him before. Anyway, I didn't call you for that.
Yes, sir.
You remember when I called and spoke about this television problem?
Yep.
Up until now, it has been cleared.
Okay.
The channels are coming in clear up until the last 15 minutes when I checked it. So what I'm trying to say, if you don't get up and say something, you don't get nothing done.
Exactly, boy. Exactly.
And that's why I'm saying this to Moses Kokona, to Juliana Cannon, to the minister here. Fix that piece at the hospital so if it's raining and people got to get out in a wheelchair, they don't get soaking wet before they get inside. And get that dock fixed up there so we can get a small cruise ship coming weekly. I'm not being rude to you when I speak like that, but I can't help it.
No, I think that sometimes when the people who experience it, you know, they say he who, you know, feels it knows it, they share their views, then the powers that be that we like to refer to, they then get a direct understanding, you know, or an input. So it helps. You're not being disrespectful, you know, it's very good.
Well, I made sure I put it to the direct ones.
Yes, sir.
So if I insult any of them, well, tough luck, I'm just talking straight, no disrespect.
That's right.
All right, you all keep up your good works at Radio Cayman. And this morning, that lady there, she had my toe going.
Got you going, huh?
On the Gospels.
I know, man. It's amazing. I'm glad that you are able to enjoy it, and I'm, you know, very confident other people likewise enjoyed, you know, all the programming, especially the gospel part.
Yeah, you must remember, you know, the Holy Ghost power moving just like a magnet.
Hi.
Okay.
There you go, sir.
All right. Thank you for your time, sir.
You're most welcome, sir. And thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, too, for yours, and have a wonderful afternoon. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. If the gentleman wouldn't mind me using what he shared as an example. Right before he would call, we said, you know, talk about citizen journalists and the like. You know, people using the social media, their ability to leverage the technologies they have, their smart devices and the like, to share information, video, text, or otherwise. Well, the gentleman uses the resources available to him. He gets on his phone and he champions things that are good for the community, not just for one individual or a small group. And I think that's what makes a society helpful, when people are willing to act to improve the lot of the rest of us. Now, I like when we do that because it helps us out. And I'll use that and ask the question that we were speaking of earlier when we were given sort of the account of the three parents who shared a view about education relative to how long the school day should be and how long the school year should be, when it should start and end and the like. And they were saying simply that maybe it's time to change the way we look at education, the whole paradigm for teaching and learning, and to get to a place where our students, from the very first day that they start school, that they understand the expectations of their behavior, their deportment, their commitment. But, and this is something that I wish I could have recorded what they said and repeated back to you. This was shared by the educators. But those who are called to be teachers need to understand that their approach has to be above reproach. They, as teachers, she said, we as teachers, but I'm not an educator, I don't teach in the schools, the need to ensure that above all they maintain a level of deportment and decorum. They bring to the table a strong sense of integrity. Now, I believe most of us would say that thankfully we have that in our schools. But what if we had in our schools just one? Whether it's in our, college, whether it's in our, secondary or primary. If there are people, teachers in particular, principals, administrators included, even support staff or other personnel who are on the school grounds who don't act in a way, or who, when they behave a certain way that is improper, is, as some have said, suspect. We do nothing about it. We do nothing about their ill behavior. Then what message is that sending to our children? What risk to their safety and security? And just because we want to save face, we want to try to protect certain things, we're constantly hiding information. And the third sort of set of messages, as it were, that people commented, I was talking about the citizen journalists and this, but the third one was sort of, what is it that they say, trading, trending, what have you, and a little bit of information that I'm monitoring that people are sending through, is the fact that in our schools, public as well as private, we keep information from the school family, from the wider public, from the media, and even when the media, the allegation is, even when the media gets hold of information, there's very little digging and investigating and reporting. Now, without necessarily betraying the confidences, I don't believe one of these comments was intended to be shared publicly as the person shared it, but generally speaking, one of the comments said, listen, at a particular private school, allegation was made about a particular incident, and instead of it being addressed the way it was, and I look at the words, quote unquote, covered up. Now, is this a one-off, the person asks, or is this something that is sort of par for the course? It happens all the time. It's the norm. It's the expectation. In the private school, this person says, much easier to either dismiss the teacher, to not renew the contract, to somehow move the teacher along. Maybe in the public systems, not as easy. But when things happen that parents are aware, through communication from the school, perhaps from the parents whose children are in that class, for instance, all of a sudden, the teacher is here today, but tomorrow isn't, and the school says, the teacher had to leave for something, and gives, as this person implies, a story that is less than credible, then is it that they believe that the parents don't know, or is it that the parents who know will not say no more? What is it? Not that it's about sharing that information to malign, but it's about ensuring that people will understand that they're going to be held accountable, and it's not going to be, as this person writes, quote unquote, covered up. Now, is that the perception that we tend to cover up a lot, whether it's in education or in other areas? If so, is that just accepted and expected, and so it's never to change? Or is it that we can do something and should do something about it? Well, let us hear from you if you want. The caller earlier had said, she has a view about why crime spikes during the summer. Some of us have heard it, shared it. Some of us have even probably seen it in print, maybe even from official sources. Now, the question is, why is it that we can't address, if we have at least some thought process as to what possibly could be created in it? 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hey, good afternoon, Dwayne. Good afternoon, Ms. Susan. Good afternoon to all our listeners.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you today?
Yes, I'm trying to make the best of it.
Yes, sir.
Usual. Very hot, sunny day, as usual, planted him now.
Yes, it is. That is true.
Yes, sir. And day before yesterday, I was on here talking about mega structures. Quite an interesting story again. Mega structures passing south of Grand Cayman again tonight.
Okay. You there, sir?
That is to make Puerto Cortes, Honduras, a mega container port. The mega structures are coming from Shanghai, China. They're among the biggest gantry cranes in the world, sitting on top of a super tanker-sized ship like the one that passed there day before yesterday, carrying the giant oil rig. Today is 67 days at sea since they departed Shanghai, China. and there will be in Honduras about 5 p.m. on Saturday evening, transporting 2 giant cranes at around $15 million apiece, which will make Puerto Cortes, Honduras. I mean, a lot of Caymanians been there. My brother, Captain Radley, used to go there frequently loading lumber for Jamaica when he was a seaman. And that port will become a mega container port to handle ships up to 9,000 containers capacity. The dock is 1,148 feet long at the present time, and project's $145 million, and the depth alongside that dock is 48 feet to handle these mega container ships. These are 2 being delivered from China, and between now and 2023, they have four more of a bigger type and 6 more of the biggest in the world to go to Honduras. So that will be one of the biggest ports in the entire Caribbean. Kingston, Jamaica is a major one. Cartagena, Colombia, Dominican Republic, and just to say that every place in the Caribbean is booming through shipping, with doing docks and making progress and making a massive income from these container transshipment ports. And Cayman Islands will have a great potential for that too. But Cayman Brac, with the place that we have would be for it, is right next door to Scott's Dock, where Scott Development has that huge piece of land now. Would create something like that and extend the dock out to the ocean, and things could be done. But anyway, that's the future. That's an envisaged future that could happen, but you need the contacts and the money to do all of that. Anyway, it has to say that many places are booming from storing containers and then reshipping them into smaller ships going all over the Caribbean. That's the biggest thing now with all these islands in the Caribbean. They're doing it in Suriname, every island, and that's how it's going. And also, the world's biggest fresh fruit ship is passing south of Grand Cayman now, with 2,000 containers of watermelons, bananas, and pineapples bound for Wilmington, Delaware, USA. He carries 2,000 containers, just a fruit-carrying ship. All fresh fruit. We get the same kind of fruit in Grand Cayman, bananas at Foster's, and here in Cayman Brac that's transported by those ships coming out of Moyen, Costa Rica. And the other thing I have to say is Grand Cayman cruise industry. Arrangements are made for the 4th biggest cruise ship in the world to call to Grand Cayman next year, owned by MSC Cruises, MSC Meraviglia, which is still under construction, not finished yet. And she has a capacity of 5,714 passengers. So that will be the biggest cruise ship ever to be arranged to come to Grand Cayman. And talking about getting one of the big ones to come there, well, arrangements and considerations are being done for that monster ship to come to Grand Cayman in 2019. That's next year. Also, the Symphony of the Sea is the biggest in the world, even bigger than the one now. Is starting its maiden cruise November the 9th. That's on my birthday coming this year, November the 9th from Miami. Coming to, she's going to Rotan, Honduras, and Belize, down in Central America. Imagine they have facilities to accommodate the world's biggest cruise ship ever built. That is her 1-week Caribbean cruise going to St. Thomas and other places, probably Labadee, Haiti, and maybe Palmas, Jamaica, and down there to Rotan and Belize. So in that field, there's no limit to what's happening in the cruise industry and shipping industry and container storage and transshipment. There are ways to make money, but it just needs the connections and the decisions and ideas and thoughts to get these things started. Okay?
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. You always give us, ton of information relative to, what's happening in the narrow maritime waters. And as I was listening to you, reflecting that, recent maritime survey update our charts on the way. Maybe that'll lead to us looking at our, marine environment and our territorial limits. Let's pause though, take a break. Thank you again, sir, for your thoughts. As we come back, there'll be more talk today. Stay tuned.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Hon, what do you say we do a staycation this month?
What? With all these bills, you really think we could find money to do that?
Well, you obviously haven't seen that CUC bill this month.
Do I ever want to?
You think that cleaning the AC filter, setting the thermostat, timing the water heater, and resealing the windows and doors was for nothing or what? We is going on a staycation, honey.
CUC, you've got the power, CUC.
This message was brought to you by Caribbean Utilities Company Limited. Remember, you've got the power to conserve the energy you use and save.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Did you know that the Department of Environmental Health operates a recycling program in the Cayman Islands? Recyclables such as number 1 and 2 plastics, tin and aluminum cans, cardboard, as well as glass and ceramic items are recycled on Grand Cayman by the DEH. Take these items to the recycling depots located at all Foster supermarkets, Kirk Market, and Hurley's Grand Harbor. Remember, keep the Cayman Islands clean, reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, please visit DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Is this thing working? Give me some sound over here.
Every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m., Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show for your radio, featuring Will Sinatra.
Now, sound is everything.
Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, reggae, and calypso, and an entertainment trivia section. The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of the Cayman Islands Football Association. CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. You can also send us your thoughts on the Radio Cayman WhatsApp. Simple. 925-32-601. Either way, you send your thoughts to us and we will share them with our listeners if that is your desire. If it is, like how some come through, hey, can you check on this? Well, we try to do that as well and respond to it as best as we can. It is open line. Now, earlier we talked about wanting to share with you the sentiments of one of our listeners who had engaged us a bit earlier to talk about prisoners and rehabilitation and the like. Now, in the discussion, the individual said, when you share this information, go right ahead, let them know. Yep, this person was incarcerated, more than once. Ask, well, do you want to talk about the offenses of incarcerated? And say, well, not necessarily, but just to say it wasn't, for any sort of violent act. So nothing that affected individuals, no serious assaults or anything of that nature. Now, the person shared that that's just the issue. Sometimes you end up in jail because of maybe a minor offense, as it were. And while you're there, maybe you become educated, indoctrinated, maybe you become acclimated to that culture. You come back out, you find it hard to find employment, find a meaningful employment and a meaningful time. Now you may get as has happened to him. You get caught up into the crowd again, and you end up back in court, maybe for a same or similar offense. Maybe a little bit, worse than the time before. You're back in prison, whether it's 3 months or a couple of years, or then you're out, and then you may be back in. Increasing this level of, this revolving gate. And he thought, yes, we need to deter people, we need to punish offenders and the like, but how do we help them? 949-837. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Moderator. How are you doing?
Very well, and yourself?
Doing good. Trying to get over the hurdles, but we do so one day at a time.
Good idea.
You will recall that I made a call last week regarding the charities law and registering a non-profit organization. Do you recall?
Yes, you did, yes.
Well, I've been doing some research, and I'm here to let you know that the professional staff of the General Registry, namely Mr. Wilbur Welcome, has been very professional and very helpful on the phone, kind of leading me on how to get it done. And it's quite a process. But what I'm trying to do is, as you are aware, I started a theater company in 2005 called Backyard Caboose Theater Company.
Right.
Don't let the term company fool you. We're not a business entity.
No, it's a theater company, yeah. A dance troupe, the theater company. Yeah.
Well, really, what it is, we're a small grassroots drama group. That's what we are.
Right.
A small grassroots drama group. But anyway, we have up until July 31st, 2018, to register, waiving the $300 application fee. Boy, the motorbikes going past. Boy, they sell something else there. On the ticket owner in Grand Cayman, they got nuisances riding up and down on motorbikes. We got it up here too, but that's another story. They're having a surf and turf this weekend as well. I'll talk about that on the Black Party block tomorrow, God's willing. But what I'm saying is, and the benefit of this call is to have any other PTAs or any church groups or any other non-profit organizations who exist but they're not registered, got to get registered now. Now is the chance, because anything after July 31st, they're going to lick on it with a $300 application fee. At this time, it's being waived, right? And also, you'll face a $500 penalty for non-compliance, plus $10 for every day beyond August 1st. Long story in short, you can log on to cbp.ky. C as in cat, B as in Brad, P as in party, cbp.ky, and get your non-profit organizations registered. It is quite a process, and you know what, Mr. Moderator? I will get there because they're helping me get through it, but I can see why our last governor has been recalled. Nothing about warm massage, about rowing half. It's the bureaucracy we face, and of course, he stepped into minutes. So that's my opinion. Good afternoon.
Now, go right ahead, man. It's one of our citizens, I believe, with incredible talent. Let's see who else is out there who wants to share a thought with us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261. Lots of ways to find, a voice here on Radio Cayman, so you can share with us. Now, we were sharing earlier, and I appreciate the caller reminding all of the existing non-profits and the like. Time is ticking away, not just to save the registration fee, but to, get on board. We were talking about, conversation with one of, as he said, an ex-offender who's making some strides in the community, but still finding a bit of a challenge, not just with employment, but with acceptance, with opportunity, with another chance. You can't say, he says it was a second chance, because maybe to an extent he probably has borne out, the welcome with some family and friends. But it only strikes him, he says, that when you go down that road, it makes it harder and harder to find another path, because that becomes the familiar. It becomes the norm, and his new norm has been that this is the lifestyle. The friends that he had prior to his initial incarceration certainly, become less and less with his subsequent incarcerations. And today, some of them, he says, wouldn't even acknowledge him. They pretend like they never knew him. Now, they themselves may or may not, be as good as they think they are. But the question is, how can others, move on, truly get rehabilitated, truly become, sort of reintegrated into society if they're shunned by society, if they're made to feel, he says, the way, he feels sometimes, whether it's at church or a social gathering, whether it's among, family and friends, as it were, or it's an invitation in the room, not that many familiar faces. He said, yes, his experience may not be the norm for some. It may not be something that people understand, but when you don't appreciate what a road a man is on, how can you understand how it is to help him? Now, he said that there are those who try, and some of them are probably, suffering as a result of their seemingly interest, but there are those, he shared, who are only there to look good, to take the pictures, as it were. Now, that's not exactly how he put it, but he said, it's frustrating because trying to get a job in the area which he believes that he still has the skill sets, difficult. Or we can't have you around, this, we can't allow you access to that. He said that even in prison, wanting to get training, well, yeah, the computer class is there if you want. If you wanted to learn to read, probably help there. But there are many prisoners who had skill sets and talents before they came into prison. Is there a way for them to continue? He said, there was this great success with the masons and the carpenters and some of the trades, but even that could be extended. But what about others who have, other skill sets? And when we're looking at it, he shared, we're quick to turn a blind eye to certain offenders or certain offenses, but the same, criminal activity is going to be, as he puts it, very harshly enforced if it happens in this part of the island versus in that part, in this part of the district versus in that part. But isn't all crime the same? If he said, doing a line of some drug, well, it doesn't matter where you are, it's still illegal. If it's illegal, it should be illegal everywhere. And as I listened to him, you could hear that he was, truly, not just remorseful of his, past behavior, but as he said, almost despondent as to what his future would look like. The challenge to find employment when he was trying to reestablish his banking relationship, the ability to go borrow, funds to buy a car, almost next to impossible. His driver's license had expired. He wanted it renewed. That was a challenge. So many things that people take for granted. Well, let's go to our phone. Say good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hi, Dwayne. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. How are you today, my friend?
I'm very thankful, pleasantly blessed.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Dwayne, there's a business in Cayman that I'm going to try to get involved in because it's a very, very good lucrative business, and that is the church. Because every way you turn around, there's some new church that is opening up. I mean, when you look at it, they come here from Timbuktu, and the first thing they do is they go and open a church, right? This thing is, and no one is monitoring this situation with these churches. Then they're getting all their inputs that they bring in is duty free. I mean, Cayman just sits there and just becomes, just got the door open for all of these people to come here. We don't know who they are, right? We don't know who they are, and they come in here, with opening these churches every minute. They open some church. I mean, it is really, really becoming ridiculous, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, all of those churches, I swear to God, they got more names that they have created for churches than you could think about. And every day, literally every day, there's one new one opening up. Literally every day. It's really, someone has got to take this and monitor the situation, monitor the situation and really get a grip on it, because every shop and every plaza you go to, you're finding some new church to just open up, I remember when there was Presbyterian, when there was the Pilgrim Holiness as we know it, and Church of God Universal and Seventh-day Adventist, But now I can guarantee you, if they're not 50 to 60 other offsprings now, there's none, Yeah. And it's got to be something. It has got to be that they're doing this for some ill gain, right? We sit down and think because he come and his brother so and pastor so and so and listen, man, let's stop the nonsense. Caymanians got this place is being we're just being used every day. We are being used for some form of ill-gotten gains in this country by those who come here from shores that we don't even know where they're coming from or what they did in their homeland. They could have been criminals in their homeland, come here and they're coming with the church again,
But why is that? I mean, why is it that, respectfully, with religion, or with churches in particular, we seem to be so accommodating? Maybe some would say we don't do sufficient due diligence. If you're going to be the church of the church of the church, then that's okay. You can just pay your fee, or if there's a fee, you open up your shop, as it were. I mean, why is it it's so accommodating in that sense?
Well, you see, when we come back from the notion that we are a Christian, we have a Christian heritage. Yeah, I appreciate the Christian heritage, right? I live by faith, but there is a limit that you have to be. You have to scrutinize these people more than is happening, and until somebody stands up and say, well, hang on, do we need another church in this area? Do we need another church? Right? They should put a moratorium on them, because every day there's one that's opening up, and it really grieves me to see it. I mean, the pastor stand up there telling the congregation, listen, after the gave offering, I'm told the pastor just stands up and say, listen, brothers and sisters, remember we got rent due next week. That is X amount of hundreds of dollars. I mean, I say there's something inherently wrong here. Dwayne, that's all the time I have today, but I thank you for the time you've given me.
Well, thank you very much too for sharing with us, and as you were. For what it's worth, as you were sharing, one or two of the quick comments came in, shared something similarly, not as perhaps politely as you said. We're going to pause and take a break. When we come back, got a chance to share with one of our guests. So stay tuned, we'll tell you more about it.
Super Jam Showdown.
Gospel music has gone too far.
Positive Monday. Population Tuesday. Latino Heat Wednesday to Thursday, back the hands of time.
Supersonic.
Gay Friday, Brack Party Block Top 10 Count to Female Fridays.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Showdown, weekdays 3 to 6. Brought to you by
Leap Diversify.
At Leap Diversify, they are dedicated to your educational pursuits. Visit www.leapdiversify.com.
Leap Diversify. They don't succeed unless you succeed.
Important notice for all contractors, including general, civil, residential, building, and trade contractors. The Department of Planning would like to inform you that in order to pull permits and request inspections, your company must be registered with the Builders Board by July 31st, 2018. Failure to register with the Builders Board will prevent you from seeking permits and inspections. Fees and applications can be found online at www.planning.ky. All applications and fees for all contractors must be submitted by July 31st, 2018.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And as expected and promised, and now in the flesh, good company of Mr. Daniel Moxham joining us for the remainder of the show. Man, you're a hard-working fella, man. Thank you so much for pulling some time out of your afternoon.
Thank you.
And,
thank you very much, Dean.
All right, we're going to get into some discussion. We got a couple of calls online. Let's take them all and go to the phones. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon.
Afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm calling in connection with the last caller who was talking about the deluge of churches starting up here.
Uh-huh.
It's just using it for every reason in the world. They're bringing in people to work and say they're going to be in the church because these people do not need work permits, and they're bypassing and getting work, letting them in, say they're in the church and they were seeking employment elsewhere, and using it for free this, free that, and a license to beg. They send your members out and you can't get in stuff just through door for them selling you something. I am so sick and tired of it. It's ridiculous. It's a disgrace. It's an insult to the Lord, what they're doing.
Well, why are we allowing it?
Pardon?
Why are we allowing that behavior?
That's what I want to know. That's what I'm hoping that somebody that's in charge will be listening and hear this.
Okay. Well, maybe.
It's really totally ridiculous. We're just, Cayman is just a milk cow. I think the cow got 5 pips or something. We got about 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be.
And they're milking everyone.
All right.
It makes the question.
Actually, we got 19 pips. Them politicians. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much indeed, And a couple of the callers say good afternoon, welcome. You want to Talk Today? Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for sharing with us.
Dwayne, you know what? Mr. Gillard, I think he don't mind me calling his name because I know him. Talk about these churches. When I came to Cayman, Dwayne, in 1958, we have the United Church, we have Pilgrim Holiness, which is a Bowman, and the Catholic Church, and the Adventists. And Dwayne, I don't know what's going on with all these churches, just like what a man say, just like money making. I believe in God. I believe in God. When Jesus Christ was on this earth, he never sent none of his disciples out to beg nothing. He preached the word of his Father. He rode a donkey into Jerusalem. And Palm Sunday, in Latin, it's called Latima Jesima Zundi. This is Sunday. That's all I have to say, sir.
Well, thank you for saying that, sir. Let's take the other caller. Hey, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you?
Afternoon.
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling us.
Yeah, I quite agree with not this gentleman, the gentleman before who called about the churches.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I need to put in my 2 cents. And I know that there are churches here that are not and should not be considered as non-profit organizations because they are doing it for profit. I know as a fact that they are operating bigger business than some of these banks on the island. They have 3 and 4 secretaries 24/7 a day working, and they work from Monday to Friday and also Sundays. I don't consider these churches as non-profit, and they have a lot of employees as well. And really and truly, I don't know what's going on, but it is happening and it is real.
So why do you think, if this is happening and if you know about it, probably other people know about it, why is it that we're, if you allow me to say it this way, we turn a blind eye to it? There's no enforcement, no investigation, no oversight.
They need to be investigated. And I know a lot of times they were bringing in things in the name of the church duty free.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? They are raking in millions of dollars. And they're operating very, very busier than some secular businesses. And I know as a fact.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Hopefully, as we share this, that people will be I can use the word convicted. Maybe people would interpret that in one sense. One people would understand that there's another meaning as well. Anything else you want to share with us?
That about the police matter and the,
Yes.
I'd call in about them coming to take the statement.
Mm-hmm.
They finally did come and take the statement like 8 days later. I haven't heard anything since, but I'm hopeful that something will come out of it.
Well, I pray that
Thanks
you.
so much, Dwayne.
No, well, thank you too, and I hope
Have a great day.
You too. All right, let's take one more, Mr. Daniel. Hey, good afternoon. Join me and Daniel as we talk to you. Good afternoon.
Yes, Dwayne, good afternoon.
How are you?
Nobody you guys said.
All right.
Good afternoon, you guys there.
Yes,
Didn't hear all your topics just for now briefly. Regarding all these organizations, especially people are using the name of churches for their rackets. I think we need to look into it because, like the lady just said about all these fundraisings that they're having, there are all these beggars that they're out there. A lot of them is just coming down using the churches because they heard that there's no charge for no permit. You don't have to get a permit or you don't have to pay for the permits or whatever. And they're using that to bring in their materials for their... I know a particular church that their people bought in all the stuff for their house under their church to get it duty-free. And government needs to look into it because that's the racket that's going on. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Daniel Moxham, as I introduced, sits with us. Daniel, thanks. Any thoughts, man? I mean,
For no, we all know this from long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just gotta say, I think calling a radio station about it really not gonna solve nothing. Really, is that we got to go to the church or go to the people running the church and tell them, say, look, either you stop this or we have to go to the people in charge, or I don't know who in charge of the church, but as we can see, when we call in here, it's like we just kind of just talking. I think it's time now, especially if they're going to disgrace the Lord,
Yeah, I believe that
because just let me ask you this. You think you can walk in these same churches in your slippers? You think you can really do that?
They may not make you feel. What do you think would happen if you did that? What would happen? You think?
I haven't seen nobody try it yet.
Okay.
But it makes you really question if one of these churches would,
But if then, and as you said, this is not something that is today or last year. This is something that we've probably been hearing for years, if not decades. If that is the perception in this country, why is it continuing? And why is it that there are people, the congregation, the members, whatever they're called, still associated with this thing? So it's not just one person. No. What is your thought? Not just yours, but for those who are listening. How is it able to continue, and why are people associated with it?
You could believe me or not, right? But I believe they got a lot of power. I believe they got a lot of power.
Persuasion and stuff?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
And not only that, I believe a lot of money. Like I say, a lot of money. And one thing I notice is if you're a big donor in the church, it's like you get those little cookie wafers all the time waiting for you, or you always got somebody coming to, kind of help you.
You're buying your way.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's how some of us think we find eternity and salvation. I don't know. But then I recall that under the last administration, the finance ministry making some efforts to look at things like do the concessions and do the waivers and the like, and being able to justify, asking an applicant to be able to justify that this is a legit, bona fide and merited sort of waiver. Now, is it that we as a people, don't do our job or due diligence to make sure that when a request is made that we are properly vetting it? Is it that the system exists and people say, oh, well, for example, church comes in and so therefore it says church and has the requisite sort of stamp of the church and therefore it's duty free. Are we not investigating and making sure that people are compliant and are,
like I kind of said before, that use of the church, that got a lot of persuasion or a lot of power. Like you won't even get questioned. You don't even, but me as a person in the community, I have to see when you're bringing in something, how you doing what you say you're doing. I have to see that really goes out, have proof. Show me proof,
Yeah, well, most people would say that, if you go to the shop and you buy something, you want to see what you bought, right? If it's a tangible product, well, this is what I bought, a pen, a pencil. Well, it comes back to maybe the society was never trusted, maybe the society is too trusted and has always been. I never know. But can we do it? Now, when we come back, a lot of things are going on in our communities. Just to share with you, yesterday's discussion, we had an opportunity to speak about the garbage situation. Today, we had callers talk about crime, education, number of things. We'd like your input on some of those if you so choose. We're going to take a news break for 2 p.m. headlines. Certainly ask you to call and share your thoughts with us if you so choose. And when we come back, good company of Daniel Moxham. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Normal court business operations in Kirk House, which were temporarily suspended, resumed today at 1:30 p.m. The suspension was due to technical difficulties at that location. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, U.S. President Donald Trump has rejected a proposal made by the Russian leader Vladimir Putin that Russia be allowed to question U.S. citizens. Mr. Putin suggested he might in return allow access to 12 Russians indicted by the U.S., and the White House said the president would consider the offer, but the offer sparked outrage in the U.S. and calls for it to be rejected. Police are believed to have identified the suspected perpetrators of the poisoning of a Russian ex-spy and his daughter in March. Several Russians were thought to be involved in the attempted murder of Sergei and Yulia Skripal in Salisbury. They are believed to have been identified through CCTV, cross-checked with border entry data. Earlier this month, 44-year-old Dawn Sturgis died after being poisoned by Novichok. She and her partner, 45-year-old Charlie Rowley, fell ill on June 30th in Amesbury, Wiltshire. He remains seriously ill in hospital. And Burberry, the upmarket British fashion label, destroyed unsold clothes, accessories and perfume worth £28.6 million last year to protect its brand. It takes the total value of goods it has destroyed over the past 5 years to more than £90 million. Fashion firms, including Burberry, destroyed unwanted items to prevent them from being stolen or sold cheaply. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back and thank you for calling. Oh, there you go, Miss Susan. This is fun. We're switching. See, Daniel, no. We should have got you to sign that agreement. And this is not Vegas. And whatever happens here about the seas, they hear it on the radio, they see it on YouTube now.
Yeah.
So Miss Susan makes it super easy. Daniel Moxham, thanks for the company and sharing with us a few minutes of your time this afternoon, man. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again, always having me.
Yeah, man.
Big up my family, my wife and my son, mother, my father, and my grandmother, everyone them,
Yeah, man.
That's why I'm here,
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming by. And hopefully, as people start to recognize that, Radio Cayman is Cayman.
Yeah, man.
Cayman is Radio Cayman. And together, if we understand that this is owned for us, it's for us, it's by us, it's of us.
Yeah, man.
That the programming, that the content, that the contributions of our callers, even, there's somebody in the morning playing something, there's someone at night playing something, and you want to request. You call up.
Yeah.
You know who it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Makes a difference.
Yeah, man. They should really take advantage of this,
Yeah,
because I know I see them sitting down, like they talking to themselves, They can come up here and express their feelings, their opinions, because half the time it's like nobody really, understanding or seeing the problems of what they're really going through, That this would be very,
Yeah. I just quickly, I share with you, had a discussion with a fellow this morning, right? And we were talking back and forth. And I said, well, when you get time, just let me know and give me a heads up because I just can't jump up and run, but I will as best as I can. So, hemmed and hawed and back and forth. And he said at the end of the day, he was a bit reluctant for different reasons.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a few minutes, we chatted, and he basically had been one of those that, as he said, found in and out of prison for foolishness, in a sense, But hey, he did what he did, and he suffered what he suffered, right? But his thing was, now as he back into community, how challenging it is to keep employment, right? Because he's conscious, workers, supervisors always shoo-shooing around, the level of acceptance. Now he's trying to get it reestablished, and difficulties getting the bank account going again.
Yeah,
getting his driver's license up and running again. And as he crosses each hurdle, it's almost like another wound. Yeah. Very little, but yet, he's persevering.
Yeah, you could get there, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get there, it's still there on you.
Mm-hmm.
You thinking all of it is clear and gone, but people can still bring that up about you.
Yeah, man.
It's not a problem with you bringing it up about me, but still, why I look like you have to really dig in my past. I don't see you digging in all them people past.
That's what he was saying. I said to him one day, I said, listen, when you feel like it, if you want to call in one day, you want to come in and chat, it's up.
Yeah,
it's up to him, right? But what struck me is that we're not willing to do enough for our own. And when we hear comments from Caymanians, right, we, for some reason, we call them, anti-this and, and the fact that...
But, I'm going to tell you from experience, coming back is hard, It's very hard for you to go through all the hurdles, no matter what. And you almost have to, remind yourself before they remind you, just to get one little bit above them. You have to remind you this where you coming from. And when I saw something in the news the other day with the man with the youth from West Bay or is it Ebanks or something, he killed himself because he keep on you can't find, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine the little bit of time, like, you know, like must be 10 years ago or 7 years ago, it was very hard, you know. So I imagine now 7 years ahead now how more hard it is to just to get in the door, you know.
Yeah. But Daniel, even like with that, right, and whether it's one individual that's suffering or feeling or concerned about something that is particular to that one individual, but even the wider things, whether it's the environment, whether it's the potential for development somewhere, whether it's the garbage situation, that maybe it's the staff, you know, maybe it's the equipment, maybe it's the schedule, maybe whatever it is. As a community, what are we doing to collectively try to find solutions to hold whoever we need to hold accountable? It seems that some of us believe that depends on who it is, well, it's going to go this way.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the fact that this is right and this is wrong.
Yeah.
So.
I seen it too, is like debating on somebody to come with this money and just fix everything, you know. This money one just stop and everything is back to normal, but it don't go like that. You really have to be that. All of us, whether you don't have to be $1, it could just be your muscle strength that you put it in. We can get this thing back to how we was, and you don't really have to pay attention or really go and discriminate. Like, say you come from here, so you don't know what this is all about. You know, you come from somewhere else, you don't know what this is all about. That's not no reason to like say somebody try and help you then and you got deny them. You know, that's not a good enough reason for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's not good enough.
Now, with the things that happen in the Cayman, I mean, your certainly would welcome your perspective. What do you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, I have to say, boy, the garbage is really getting to like make me ask really what's going on. I see something looking kind of like how it work, where you're getting forced into something, you know, because I put it in my mind the other day. You're driving with the garbage to somewhere else, you know. You don't got no truck or nothing really, you know, but you got your car stink of garbage on a hot day, you know, because your government not gonna pick it up. But you can't burn it, you can't throw it in the bush. You gotta take it to the dump or take it somewhere. You want it out of the yard, you got the flies everywhere. You want your yard clean. I know we not dirty like that. I know nobody that come here live dirty like that. I know that. That's I cannot take that. I can't believe this is what it comes to, that we have to sit and drive around with the garbage when all this money is around here, all of this showboating or all of this big salary you got, you know, and you still drive around with the garbage in your car. Imagine that, you know. So I waiting from now to show me a real answer to the garbage, because it looks like something is getting forced upon us, like, you know.
Well, you talk to some people, you know, whether it's in an official capacity or not, or whether they're, you know, full of cognizance of their mental faculties or not, whether they've just, you know, had the best sleep and the best breakfast. It seems that in all of those conversations, people generally seem to have a perception. Whether it's right or not, they seem to be asking similar questions. And they all seem to be concerned that, you know, we're not addressing this issue, from the recycling aspect of it to trying to reduce it so that we don't have as much garbage generated. But then if it's an issue of, as you said, you know, we need more people, we need more garbage trucks, you know, better equipment, more equipment, then why is that not a priority? Is it as, these are just questions as I listen to people. You know?
But I understand all of that, you know. But you see, the things I like to look at is why we bringing this in here, you know. Why we really bringing all this plastic waste in here. I used to buy Welch's in the glass bottle. Now it's strictly plastic. You can't find no glass bottle of grape juice anywhere. If you're lucky, it's somebody that bringing it in personally, you know.
So a lot of the things that we buy now
It's strictly plastic. Almost everything turned into plastic. The iced tea bottles, everything is going to plastic. No, you got little Coca-Colas in the glass, little ones, right? But majority of them is in the back shelf, or they're not on where the cooler is. When people want to grab something cold, they go and grab a cold plastic bottle, and that going back into the garbage, you know. And almost everything we got here, or everything that comes here, is coming wrapped in some kind of plastic, you know. I don't know why we can't just have it either grown here or grown in Cayman Brac. You know, Cayman Brac is a big agriculture place.
Yeah.
You know.
So then, as I listen to you, then we need to rethink what the future would look like and how we can make sure that we are more sensitive and sensible about what we're doing.
Yeah.
The Brac can be our breadbasket, as you say.
Yeah.
Here, we can maybe not buy so much of some things and not buy certain things because of the packaging. Maybe not at all.
Yeah, you can totally change the plastic, because they're making biodegradable stuff now, you know. Plastic that must be a good month, it's disappeared. It's not no chemical waste to it, or no cancer or nothing coming out of it, no oil coming out of it.
No leaching from the thing.
No.
Yeah. True.
We don't want to explore that at all.
Yeah. But why is that? Why is it that the public, is it that, we're willing to buy this thing because it's right there, we're not informed about it, we don't really care?
Yeah, I feel it too, that we misinformed about certain things. I think it keeps us very suppressed in how we learn about things, you know. We like the last to know.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, but one final break.
Yeah.
So Daniel Marks. For those that are listening, 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-TALK. Please stay tuned for Talk Today. Susan says it's a short break.
The Advance Automotive Chevrolet 30-day countdown is on. For the month of July, save big with once-in-a-year pricing on all remaining 2018 Chevrolet models. Advance Automotive is making room for 2019 models with unbeatable pricing on remaining 2018 models. We are in the last 12 days. Come and see the 2018 Tahoe, rated most dependable large SUV by J.D. Power, and now available with $3,000 cash back. 30-day countdown from Advance Automotive. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive or visit AdvanceChevrolet.com today.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after.
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after.
Visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
Brit K, where people come first.
The following is a public service announcement. The Council of the Justices of the Peace Association is pleased to advise the public that general document signing services will be provided 3 days a week in the front lobby of the Government Administration Building. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon, the following services will be provided by volunteer justices: witnessing a signature on an authentic document, certifying a document as a true copy of the original once the original has been provided, witnessing a signature and completing the portion on a Cayman Islands or British passport application, including acknowledging that the photo provided is a true likeness. Please note, a JP must have known the passport applicant for no less than 2 years before signing the application. Identification cards must be presented, and persons seeking the services of the justices must ensure that proper attire is worn when visiting the Government Administration Building.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go, good and cleaner.
Now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. 4 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah Countryside, Elgin Avenue, Georgetown, Centennial Towers, West Bay, and Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive through, rain or shine. Free pickup and delivery. Call Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. You feel good when you look good.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Today, 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. In the studio, getting, not just the company, but his perspective and opinion, Daniel Marks. Daniel, thank you again. Because of the access that we have in our society to certain things, some of us may be not as willing to take it up. For instance, sadly, there are probably a lot of us who can say, I can't remember the last time I went to the beach. Oh, Easter. But I really didn't go to the beach. I just, went to look at it. Well, last time we went fishing. Right? There's so much that is maybe readily available there. Maybe it's not the beach. Maybe it's the park. Maybe it's the playing field, the basketball court. Just walking somewhere, visiting people. We don't seem to do it. But yet, we don't think and talk and be as constructive and as, as philosophical as you, man. And you inspire good thought, man.
Thank you, man. I see it as that divide and conquer tactic. That's what they try and work on us always, Because you from somewhere, or your skin different color, or you talk different language, and this and that. I have to have some bias or some kind of thing against you, no matter what.
Yeah,
I have to think of you different, no matter what. And I understand that. I have to think of you like, I have to respect them things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain people around here that they don't care about nobody. They rather just sit back and watch you, have fight each other for a little piece of bread, Because most of the time you hear with the robberies, it's the next door neighbor or the next door neighbor's son, or something close, somebody that they know is who robbed them, and that makes me very not fearful, but it makes me very cautious of how I notice and I talk to people,
So like in the past when your neighbor literally watched out for you, made sure you were okay and you looked after your neighbor. Now it's your neighbors, what is it they say? Scoping out. Scoping out the place now. Oh, Johnny is going to be away for the weekend, or they go to work at 7:30. House could be empty. So the neighbor who was your friend, keeper and your friend now is, wow. Yeah. Our society is changing. Yeah. I've been listening, and I want to offer this up because it seems that maybe it's just the circles I'm in, but we are gradually introducing terminology in our language that I never used to hear, as frequent now, right? 10, 15, 20 years ago, it may be rarely. Simple example that is so significant, right? Because it speaks to potentially a growing divide, not necessarily an acknowledgement that it exists, but the fact that we're trying to make it part of who we are. When we refer to people, right, who were not from here, we would say foreigners. Now we do it by color. And I wonder if it's something that we're conscious of. No longer we're saying, the foreigners, it's the white man, the white. What are we, what is happening? And that's being, I guess in a way, good compared to how some people say it.
Yeah. I see that, that part about the white man. I see that coming out a lot of people, no matter where they are from, everybody is like noticing that this kind of white person is getting treated or getting a little bit more like living the island life more than how somebody else would.
Right. Okay, but why is it then that we refer and describe that individual? We look at skin color. We don't say nationality or that rich person or that foreigner or something. We specifically zone in and say,
white.
And I mean, maybe it's just me, but I've been listening for it, and I've been hearing it and from Caymanians. You've heard before from other people who may have had an experience, but Caymanians.
Yeah, but you see, I think what makes it more noticeable or what more despicable is like, and people can forgive me or say what they want to say, but I'm going to tell you straight. It's like, these people have opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
To do so much different things than what they want to do than what we can choose to do, And yet they still choose to do distinctness, That a part that kind of getting noticeable to the rest of the world is that these people have it better than us, and yet they still try to do, slackness. They still try to be bad or be something what we running from, And I think when you say when we noticing that white, I think it's like it's getting like people are trying to be white, or I don't know, it's something in the head, because I seen they can raw me again, but I see them with this cake soap. I don't know who get up in the morning and look in the mirror and say don't like the skin color, or what you trying to change yourself to be white, And in a way, I believe it's so they can almost get those privileges or get that kind of way, get that kind of life that a white person is living, And that's something funny.
Mm-hmm.
And really, why they noticing with the white is that, man, it's just something really different. Something that really stands out.
Bob Marley said, not until the color of a man's eyes is, skin no more put the color of your eyes,
right.
There'll be war. So if we're seeing, discrimination and racism, prejudice, and that sort of growing divide, to date, Cayman has been a very, very, socially harmonious society. There are people who have, differences of opinion, people who have, say, they congregate there, but for the most part, now it seems that we're getting to a point where it is, but it's okay if it's them, but not them. And yet the same behavior is accepted in one corner and condemned in another.
No. No matter where you come from, if you got that bad streak in you, I think when you're just looking for badness, then that's who I refer to as them.
Yeah,
that's me, because I have talked to people that had swastikas and all them red flags and things on their shoulders, and they almost try to tell me why they feel superior than others, and I watch them crumble when I tell them, you still bleed as me though, I watch the blankness turn into the head, very fast.
Yeah. Now, Daniel, when we look at Cayman, it is summer. Children now are probably, for the most part, engaged in their summer activities. Yeah. We see, different things, good and bad, happening.
Sorry.
Yeah, man.
It's a big coincidence that it's so hot, and the electricity bill goes up while it's so hot. Just gotta put that out there.
Yeah.
That's another.
It's unfortunate, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you're the third person today who said almost the same thing. Fella said, boy, his bill is somewhere, and his bill, I'm still getting a break. How do you put it? He got it broke off in him. I think that's how he put it. If he didn't say it that way, I think that's almost exactly how he said it.
That's the truth.
But he said, what he got to do? He goes away for the summer. His bill is the same thing as if he's here. So, but again, what are we doing in our society to call out the injustices, to hold people accountable, to make sure that right is right and wrong is wrong, as opposed to lying and cheating for one but condemning another, and they both did the same thing?
Well, forgive me, but I see it as people almost losing the distinction between what is right and what is wrong. People doing all kind of stuff to children thing, getting less time than certain other broken laws. People stealing all kind of money and just getting little waivers. But me, I getting called an animal, because of something I practice in my Bible, you know what I mean? Something I caught a notice of that they don't want you to know, And to me, that's very faulty. That's destruction definitely on the way. When you see that, you can't tell no more what is good and what is bad,
Well, the Bible says last days right will be wrong, wrong will be right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Daniel, boy, sometimes I look at the clock and realize, man, I should have a little more time. But a few more minutes left. As we end sort of not just the program today, but for some people, the changing shifts in a little while. Others are winding down their day and they're like, as tomorrow gets ready to roll into it. What thoughts you want us to sort of meditate on as we go through the rest of the day and into tomorrow and the weekend?
Well, what I gotta say now, you can really take a breath and kind of relax, because this is something I kind of noticing what's happening, and I gotta be about a minute, 30 seconds, Miss Susan. Okay, is that it's not only like a redistribution of wealth, like having the wealth go to the poor and like that, It's going to be a redefinition of wealth. It's not going to be no more that you have the money and you're wealthy. It's not going to be no more of that. It's going to be like how much grandchildren you got, or how much land or how much people how much friends you got, how much trust you got. It's not going to be no more money. You can't buy your way into certain places after a certain time. It's gonna fall out, and that's why I want people to kind of get ready for, and don't get frightened. Just realize, that if it's a real friend, no matter what, they always with you. It's a real family, they always with you.
So a good name is better than money in the bank. Yeah. Our mothers would tell us, right?
A good face,
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man. Maybe as people reflect on that, they start to measure who they are by, what they're doing and who they are, not necessarily by the amount of money and wealth that they have.
That's right.
So not a redistribution, but a redefinition of wealth.
A redefinition.
I like that. Yeah. Daniel, always, man. Maybe I got to chat with you again, hopefully soon.
Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah. To our listeners, thank you so much for being a part of today's discussion. Call in and sharing your thoughts with us. And certainly come back for our talk today right after the midday news and midday meditation. You see, Miss Susan? Boy, you think I had at home being told what to do. Check it out now. And Daniel, what do you think, man? Boy, you live and you learn. Well, we got these cameras in the studio for those of you who've gone online and for the YouTube, Radio Cayman, Thingamajiggabob, and then like, subscribe, whatever you got to be called. I'll get used to it at some point. Maybe I'll even get handsome. I don't know. I took a job in radio.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dean. Mr.
You're most welcome.
Radio Cayman. Thank you very much, every time.
Right. Tomorrow is Friday. Join Mr. Art Corner for the record. And then Ray sits in the studio with us. And what's it for, Miss Susan? See what I'm saying? That's tomorrow. Yep, that's tomorrow. Until then, be blessed.